Hey everyone, welcome back to the Business Advice Podcast. I'm Sean, and with me as always is the brilliant Diane.
Thanks, Sean. It's great to be here. We talk a lot about starting businesses, finding capital, scaling up. But today we're going to tackle something a little different, something that often feels like a completely separate life goal, buying your first home. And then how those two worlds can actually collide in a powerful way.
Absolutely. It's wild how many people view homeownership and entrepreneurship as these mutually exclusive paths, right? Like you either save up for a down payment or you save up for your startup. But what if your home could actually be the springboard for your business? That's what we're digging into today. First time home buying and then strategically using that equity to kickstart your entrepreneurial dream.
It's such a fascinating concept, and honestly, a lot of people don't even realize it's an option. But let's rewind a bit, Sean. Before we even talk about leveraging equity, we need to address the elephant in the room, buying your first home. For so many, it feels like this insurmountable mountain.
Oh, absolutely. I remember my first time, it was terrifying, exhilarating, confusing, all at once. The paperwork alone could fill a small library. And the sheer amount of money you're talking about, it's enough to make anyone second guess themselves. But, there's something incredibly empowering about having your own space.
Totally. And beyond the emotional aspect, it's a huge financial milestone. For many, it's their biggest asset and the first step towards building real wealth. But what are some of the practical steps that first-time homebuyers really need to focus on? Because it's not just about finding a house you like.
Definitely. First things first, and I can't stress this enough, get your finances in order. And by that, I mean really scrutinize your credit score. Lenders are going to look at that like it's your report card. The higher your score, the better interest rates you'll qualify for, which saves you a ton of money over the life of the loan.
Exactly. And speaking of money, the down payment, it's often the biggest hurdle. Everyone hears about 20%, and that can be really intimidating, especially for younger buyers. But there are programs out there, like FHA loans, that allow for much lower down payments, sometimes as little as 3.5%.
Right. And don't forget closing costs. That's another chunk of change that can sneak up on you if you're not prepared. It's not just the down payment. There are appraisal fees, inspection fees, title insurance, attorney fees. It adds up quickly. Budgeting for those is crucial.
Absolutely. And once you've got your finances sorted and a solid down payment saved, the next critical step is getting pre-approved for a mortgage. This isn't just about knowing how much you can afford. It shows sellers you're a serious buyer, and in a competitive market, that can make all the difference.
It puts you in a much stronger negotiating position, no doubt. And then, once you're pre-approved, that's when the fun begins, or the stress, depending on your personality. House hunting. But this is also where you start to think about the long game. You're not just buying a home, you're buying an asset that hopefully will appreciate in value and build equity.
And that, my friends, is where the magic happens for our entrepreneurial discussion. Equity. So for those who might not be completely familiar, what exactly is home equity, Sean?
Great question. In its simplest terms, home equity is the portion of your home that you actually own outright. It's the difference between your home's current market value and what you still owe on your mortgage. So if your home is worth $400,000 and you still owe $300,000, you have $100,000 in equity.
And how does that equity build up over time? Is it just by paying your mortgage?
Primarily, yes. Every mortgage payment you make, a portion goes towards the principal balance, slowly reducing what you owe. That increases your equity. But it also builds when your home's market value increases. If your $400,000 home appreciates to $450,000 and you've paid down some of the principal, your equity grows even faster. It's like a built-in savings account, but for your house.
Exactly. And for years, people have tapped into that equity for things like home renovations, college tuition, or consolidating debt. But what we're talking about today is a bit more audacious, using that equity as capital to launch or grow a business. Now, this isn't for the faint of heart, but it can be incredibly powerful.
It's definitely a bold move, but it makes sense when you think about it. If you're struggling to secure traditional business loans, or if you need access to capital quickly and at a relatively low interest rate, your home equity can be a fantastic resource. We're talking about things like a home equity line of credit or a HELOC or a cash out refinance.
Let's quickly break those down for our listeners. A cash-out refinance basically replaces your existing mortgage with a new, larger mortgage. You take the difference in cash, which you can then use for your business. The downside is you're restarting your mortgage term, often 30 years, and you're potentially paying more interest over time.
Right. And then there's the HELOC. I think of it like a credit card for your home. You're approved for a certain credit limit based on your equity, and you can draw from it as needed, paying interest only on the amount you've actually borrowed. It's more flexible, which can be great for a startup that has varying capital needs.
Precisely. But here's the kicker, and this is where we have to be super clear. You are using your home as collateral. If your business fails and you can't repay that loan, you could lose your home. It's a significant risk that needs to be approached with extreme caution and a well-thought-out plan.
Absolutely. This isn't a gamble, it's a strategic investment. You wouldn't just throw money at a random business idea, so don't do it with your home's equity. You need a robust business plan, market research, financial projections, a clear understanding of your competitive landscape. All that fundamental business stuff becomes even more critical when your home is on the line.
And that's the difference between a calculated risk and a reckless one. I've seen success stories, Sean, of people who've used their home equity incredibly effectively. Think about the small local bakeries that started with an entrepreneur's kitchen and a dream, or the freelance designer who bought a high-end computer system and software to scale their business. They often don't have venture capitalists knocking on their door.
Exactly. Sometimes traditional lenders just aren't interested in a brand new business without a proven track record or significant collateral. Home equity provides that capital when other avenues might be closed. It can be a real game changer for those who are confident in their idea and their ability to execute.
So what are some of the key pieces of advice you'd give to someone who's considering this path? Beyond the business plan, what else do they need to have in place?
First, and this might sound obvious, but understand your own risk tolerance. Are you truly comfortable with the possibility of losing your home if things go south? Be brutally honest with yourself. It's not just about money, it's about your family's shelter.
That's such a critical point. And on top of that, I'd say build a buffer. Don't use every last penny of available equity. If you take out $100,000 for your business, make sure you have an emergency fund elsewhere, something to fall back on for personal expenses, or if the business hits a snag early on.
Yes, 100%. And this is where seeking professional advice becomes non-negotiable. Talk to a financial advisor who understands both real estate and small business finance. Talk to a mortgage broker. Talk to an attorney. Get all the information you can before making such a monumental decision.
And don't be afraid to start small. You don't have to launch a multi-million-dollar empire on day one. Maybe you use a smaller chunk of equity to prove out your concept, get some early wins, and then consider scaling up with more capital later. That minimizes your initial exposure.
That's smart. Think about it like phases. Phase 1 is proving the concept, getting initial traction. Phase 2 is growth. You don't need all the capital for Phase 2 right away. And also, for our listeners who are dreaming of being first-time homeowners, remember that homeownership itself is a form of wealth creation. Even if you don't use the equity for a business, you're building an asset.
Absolutely. It's a foundational step for many people towards financial independence. And for those with an entrepreneurial spirit, it can truly be the key that unlocks their next big venture. But again, knowledge is power here. Do your homework, understand the mechanisms, and be realistic about both the potential rewards and the inherent risks.
Couldn't agree more, Diane. It's a powerful tool, but like any powerful tool, it needs to be handled with care and respect. So if you're a first-time home buyer, focus on building that equity. And if you're an aspiring entrepreneur with some equity built up, start doing your research, crunching those numbers, and putting together that bulletproof business plan. Your home could be the launch pad you've been waiting for.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a sprint, both for homeownership and for entrepreneurship. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. We hope this has given you some food for thought.
We'll catch you next time on the Business Advice Podcast. Take care.